The House of Blues Radio Hour is brought to us in part by Century 21. Visit century21.com. Real estate for your world.
It's the House of Blues Radio Hour.
Greetings, one and all. I'm Elwood Blues. Welcome to the House of Blues Radio Hour. You know I do this for you, so if you ain't there, there's no point in doing it. So thanks for being there. It's my privilege each week to bring you this music with a deep connection to the roots of America. Eric Bibb rose to success in Europe back in the 1970s, earning a rep as one of the finest singers and acoustic players around. Now, for the last 30 years or so, he's been traveling around the globe, bringing blues to the world. Recently, he brought his music back home to the USA, and he turned up the volume a notch. We will catch up with him this week and listen to his great new CD, Natural Light. Eric Bibb is my guest on your House of Blues Radio Hour.
Went to the river to be baptized. When I got there, to my surprise, my neighbors were gone and the preacher was too. I cried, oh Lord, what shall I do? Then a voice spoke out so loud and plain. I heard someone calling my name, saying, you're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. You're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. Up on the mountain one cloudy day, I closed my eyes and began to pray. When I opened my eyes, you know the sun broke through. My heart got happy, my soul was new. I started walking before too long. I heard someone singing my song, saying, you're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. You're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. Went to the station in the pouring rain. Made up my mind to ride that gospel train. When I got there, the train was picking up speed. I cried, oh no, fell on my knees. Well, the brakeman heard and slowed that train right down. And when I jumped on board, he said, you're glory bound. You're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. You're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. John said, you're right on time. You're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. You're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. You're right on time, Brother John said, you're right on time. I'm going home on the morning train.
Right on time, the cut. You had Eric Bibb from his latest CD on Earthbeat, Natural Light. I'm Elwood, and this is your House of Blues Radio Hour. This gentleman, Eric Bibb, comes from an amazing musical background. His father, Leon, is a famous folk singer. His uncle, John Lewis, was a pianist and composer with the Modern Jazz Quartet. His godfather was the controversial and amazing singer Paul Robeson. Eric grew up listening and playing with them all, as well as Odetta, Bob Dylan, Pete Seeger, and the whole pantheon of folk blues artists. Eric got his first guitar at 11. He was playing on network television with his father at the age of 16. Well, a few years later, he traveled to Europe, where he made such an impact that he wound up staying. Presently living in England, it's great to have him back in the States for a while, and even greater to welcome Eric Bibb back to our show.
Elwood, it's a pleasure to see you again, blow into town and have a talk with you.
So good to have you here, man. You've got a great CD out, and it sounds like you're eating up the miles touring behind it, huh?
Oh, I've been gallivanting all around the world, everywhere God got some land. I've been in Australia. That's a nice place. A little bit far away, but a really nice place to be. Yeah.
Well, let's go back a little bit. Your father, of course, is the well-known folk singer Leon Bibb. As you were coming up, how did his fame influence your musical path?
You're aware when you're the son of a famous man of your dad's reputation, and you're aware of the empowerment that involves, you know. You meet people, you're in a world, in a rarefied world that is obviously going to be a very influential situation for you as you grow up. But you realize that, you know, your name might get you in the door, but then when you're sitting down and you have to come up with the goods, doesn't matter who you are, you know, you could be Howard Hughes' favorite son, you're going to have to lean on your own strength. So I'm very happy that I was able to be, first of all, taken seriously when I started out, started knocking on doors, but was able through certainly hard work and great encouragement from very many people, family, close people, friends afar, to stay with it through the hard knocks long enough to start making the kind of music. Gary Davis used to say, "Oh, it's getting good to you." He'd say to his students after being with them for a while, they'd have an aha moment, and their playing would suddenly take a quantum leap. And he said, "Oh, it's getting good to you, huh?" And he was aware that those things happen in a player's life, you know. You stay with it and you get help.
I was walking downtown, you know, in a place I'd never been before. All dressed up and didn't have no money. Didn't think about it, you understand, until the sun didn't start to bend low. All dressed up and dressed, beginning to feel good, felt like dancing. Something told me to look up at the sun and see how high the sun was. Saw the sun bending low, and it struck my mind about where I'm going to spend the night at. I began to get worried about it, you know. I began to get serious. I looked up the street and I saw a woman, you know, she coming down the street, you know, she all looking so good. She had hair like Mary and walked just like the Lord. I began to walk kind of pied, you know, to herself, you know. She met a man before she got to me, but she whistled at me like this, you know. I stopped, you know. She kept walking pretty pied, you know, and after a while she met this man, stopped and talked with him a little bit. She still kept her eyes on me. So I couldn't wait, you know, and the sun going down. I wanted to find somewhere where I could locate myself, you know. She whistled at me again like this, you know. I stopped in, you know. She got up with me, you know, and she threw it all around me and kissed me and said, "Come on, let's go to a dance tonight." You know how young people is, they ain't thinking about getting hurt, nothing like that kind, you know. She first told me that she didn't have nobody, you know. Said, "Let's stop by the liquor store." She stopped by there and got a pint of rock and rye, you know, and cut it half in two and told me to take the other half, you know. She come around here and go with me around here to this hall where they're having this piano dance, you know. She She set me right down on the stool right side of her, you know. She comes to playing this thing they call a whistling blues. How you ain't she doing that? Listen. Then she come and sing it to me now. God knows. Playing the piano then. That's all it is too.
The Reverend Gary Davis, Whistling Blues. I'm Elwood, and Eric Bibb is my guest on the House of Blues Radio Hour. Now, it was natural for you to have learned from Gary Davis because he and your father were both major figures on the folk scene of the 50s and 60s. But your album acknowledges other sources as well. You do a cover of a Jackie Wilson song and a very cool take on Higher and Higher It Is. How did that come about?
A great idea came through Dave Bronze, my bass player and producer of this record, Natural Light, as well as my other recordings recently. Dave just said, hey man, I just had a vision. I don't know how it came to me, but try to picture, a rural southern road and two touring buses, pretty dilapidated, kind of connect with each other. One's broken down by the side of the road and the other rolls along and stops to help them. And in one you got like a gospel group, and the other you got some pickers, who are more from like a bluegrass tradition, and they get together and, they're waiting for their vehicles to kind of get back into gear, and they just start making this music, and the lead singer from the gospel singer starts doing this Higher and Higher tune, and these pickers, flat pickers, and accordion players, and folks start just jumping in on top of it, and that's what you get.
Your love lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, quench my desire, and I'll be at your side forevermore. You know your love keeps on lifting higher and higher. I said your love keeps on lifting me higher. Now once I was downhearted, disappointment was my closest friend, but then you came and he soon departed, and you know he never showed his face again. You know your love keeps on lifting higher and higher. I said your love keeps on lifting me higher. can stand up and face the world. Let me say your love keeps on lifting, higher and higher. I said your love keeps on lifting me higher. You know your love keeps on lifting higher and higher. You know your love keeps on lifting me higher.
Wow, nice. Eric Bibb's version of the great Jackie Wilson tune Higher and Higher from his new CD, Natural Light. I'm Elwood. The great Eric Bibb is my guest this week on the House of Blues Radio Hour. We're going to take a break now as our sponsors do their utmost to take you higher and higher into the world of consumerism. More with Eric Bibb when we come back to Earth. House of Blues Radio Hour. You're back with Elwood Blues, and Eric Bibb has a little problem he'd like to share with us. He's running out of room. He's just got too much stuff.
I ended up with too much stuff. No matter what it cost me, I couldn't get enough. Got to put it all behind me, got to give it all up. I ended up with too much stuff. Had to get more money, took a trip to the bank. Said I'm running on empty, put a tiger in my tank. I got a brand new guitar on a big TV. Got a house in the country and a DVD. I ended up with too much stuff. No matter what it cost me, I couldn't get enough. Got to put it all behind me, I got to give it all up. I ended up with too much stuff. Got stuff from the doctor, and the doc ain't cheap. Got stuff to wake me up, they give me stuff to make me sleep. Got stuff to make me happy, got stuff to make me thin. And when I get out of it, they give me stuff to keep me in. I ended up with too much stuff. No matter what it cost me, I couldn't get enough. I got to put it all behind me, got to give it all up. I ended up with too much stuff. Brother Hubert. Now they got me where they want me, they got the hooks in me. 4 cars in the driveway, 3 lawyers on my back. Too many complications, one day I'm gonna crack. I ended up with too much stuff. No matter what it cost me, said I couldn't get enough. I got to put it all behind me, I got to give it all up. Cause I ended up with too much stuff. I ended up with too much stuff. No matter what it cost me, I couldn't get enough. Got to put it all behind me, got to give it all up. I ended up with too much stuff.
Eric Bibb on your House of Blues Radio Hour. Too Much Stuff, the track from his new one on Earthbeat. Natural Light is the name of the record. I'm Elwood. And joining Eric on that particular cut was Hubert Sumlin, who was recently named to Rolling Stone's list of top 100 guitarists of all time. Hubert Sumlin, of course, played guitar for Howlin' Wolf back in the day.
Played with Howlin' on all his most celebrated and ferocious hits. They're beyond hits. They're just ever blues, you know.
Oh, yes.
And Hubert was a young man when he was playing with the Wolf, and he was playing stuff that's still knocking everybody out today.
Howlin' Wolf with one of his classic tunes, Backdoor Man, and that was the great Hubert Sumlin on guitar. I'm Elwood Blues. Hubert Sumlin is a guest star on the Natural Light record from Eric Bibb. It's his new one, and Eric is with us this week on the House of Blues Radio Hour to talk about his music, living in Europe and touring. And I've got to label this a must-buy. This is a beautiful, soulful, wonderful, rockin' little album. Now, you do a slide tribute on the record to another giant of the blues, B.B. King. What made you decide to salute B.B. on the record?
B.B.'s a huge figure in my pantheon, and he would be in anybody who's serious about blues music.
Yeah, sure.
Not only for his stellar playing and singing, but B.B. is a great statesman. He's a great ambassador, a human being who has used his talents as a phenomenal musician to connect people, to connect the dots between us, you know, all over the world, and to really promote tremendous goodwill. And he's also a role model for anybody who has aspirations as a band leader. He treats people with great respect, and he's a beacon. He's really a beacon of a human being as well as a musician. I met him once in a dressing room, and I just remember thinking, this is a real good-hearted guy. This is the kind of guy who, you know, could be a member of my family. You know, he reminded me of people in Louisville, where my dad is from. Kind of man who, you know, would help you mow the lawn, you know, and probably was a great cook on the side, you know. Just that kind of good man who took care of young people, told them little things that probably they remembered 60 years later. Just that kind of man, you know.
Tell Riley, baby, next time he comes to town, if he needs somewhere to lay his body down. Tell Riley, baby, he's welcome to stay. Mark my words, he's gonna be big someday. I'm leaving Memphis, oh, Booker's got to go. Mr. Melrose sent a telegram from Chicago. That's the man making records on me. Wants to make some more. Gonna sing my songs till my throat gets sore. So tell Riley, baby, next time he comes to town, if he needs somewhere to lay his pallet down. Tell Riley, baby, Uncle Booker said he could stay. And mark my words, he'll be big king someday. And a fancy dress for you and I get back. Show beef working on Parchment Farm, that's a natural fact. Lester Melrose fixed my parole, and I thank him with my heart and soul. I'm so glad to be a free man again. So tell Riley, baby, next time he comes to town, if he needs somewhere to stay, lay his body down. Tell Riley, baby, he's welcome to stay. And mark my words, mark my words, mark my words, he's gonna be big someday.
Tell Riley, that's Eric Bibb's touching tribute to Riley B. King, otherwise known as B.B. King. Very nice job. I'm Elwood. Eric Bibb will return as our guest on the House of Blues Radio Hour, but first, allow me to lay out this audio smorgasbord of commercial goodies.
Baseball needs a little speeding up. You know how you speed up baseball? Everybody gets one swing. That's it. One swing. F*** you. You're out. Sit down. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Sit down. Next. Come on.
As of today, I, Al Bundy, am finished with baseball.
And this week takes you out to the old ball game.
Shoeless Joe Jackson comes to Iowa.
Where do they mention baseball in the Bible?
I didn't know they played baseball in the Bible.
It's baseball fever, rock and roll madness, and pork byproducts.
Oh, don't eat hot dogs. They have really weird things in them. It doesn't bother me because I love animal lips.
This week on Hey folks, this is Eric Bibb. You're listening to the House of Blues Radio Hour.
If I could know what to do and the right time to do it, when the lays around and when they get to it, mama, I'd be a true blue guru man. If I knew how to quit or when I'm ahead and stop acting like a crazy fool instead, mama, I'd be a true blue guru man. If I could know when to stop and leave the bottle alone, or when to grab my coat and go on home, I wouldn't be here in the courthouse now. When I can tip my hat and walk out the door without having that just one more. Mama, I'll be a true blue guru man. Know what to do and the right time to do it, when I lays around and when I get to it. Mama, I'd be a true blue guru man. I'm gonna tell the judge I went round the bend, gonna give her my word it won't happen again. One day I'll be a true blue guru man. Ooh, just set me free and I'll be a guru man.
There you had my guest this week on the House of Blues Radio Hour, Eric Bibb, with his song Guru Man. It's from his latest record, Natural Light, on the Earthbeat label, and it gets a yellow Elwood Blues, House of Blues must-buy sticker. Now, your father, as we said, is the well-known folk singer Leon Bibb. He gained his greatest fame during the folk music revival of the late 50s and 60s, and growing up in that scene, you must have witnessed performances from many of the so-called, rediscovered bluesmen.
I saw the great Sun House when I was 14. Live on stage singing Empire State Blues.
Man, oh man.
You might want to play that tune just for those folks to hear that great tune, you know.
Well, let's play it next. At the age of 14, did you get Sun House's music right away?
I got it immediately. I knew Sun House was probably the pinnacle of that expression, you know, that Delta Blues thing. I knew he was the real deal and then some. I mean, this is the man who was mentor to Robert Johnson, for God's sakes, you know. And there I saw him, you know, as a 70-something-year-old man looking real cool with a Western string tie and a battered National guitar, you know, wailing, man. His foot was jamming. He was singing like his soul was on fire. And I just said, that is it.
I went down to the station. I said, I leaned up against the door. Yes, I went down to the station and leaned up against the door. You know, I know that Empire State anytime I hear a blow. Well, I asked the depot, let me ride the blind. Oh, devotion, please let me ride the blind. He said I wouldn't mind the sun, but this Empire State ain't mine. You know, he said an Empire State, she runs on Eastern time. Empire State, she runs on Eastern time. Well, she's the rollest baby on the New York Central line. Well, it was a there was a mean old fireman and a cruel old engineer. You know, they took my woman away and left poor me standing here. Yes, the engineer blowed the whistle, fireman round. He rang the bell, the engineer blew the whistle. I said, the fireman, he rang the bell. You know, my woman's on board, and she's waving back fine well. Well, I'm gonna tell y'all, train will do, and I'm gonna tell y'all what a low-down train will do. Take your woman away and chop back smoke is you. Well, if you want a little Chicago, you wanna get on that quick. If you wanna get old Chicago, I said you wanna get on that quick. You oughta catch that Empire State, and you can soon get your business straight.
Eddie J. Sunhouse and Empire State Express. I'm Elwood. Eric Bibb is my guest this week on the House of Blues Radio Hour, and he was privileged enough when he was a teenager to have seen Eddie J. Sunhouse live. And now, though I am far from being a teenager, I will have the immense privilege of sitting across from Eric Bibb as he volunteers to perform for you, our national radio audience. Now, before you begin, I understand there's an interesting history to the guitar you're holding there.
This guitar used to belong to a Vancouver policeman, a friend of mine, a guy who was first a fan and then somebody who came on board even promoting concerts with me. His name is Brian. You know, I went to his house and he showed me beautiful guitars, introduced me to his family and took me down to his study where he had these guitars. And there's about 4 J45s from the early 60s, all looking pretty serious, you know. He said, play them, man. I'd like to hear your opinion, You know, I'm just learning. I'd like to know what you think of these instruments. And they all were great, set up great, and it sounded great. He said, what do you think is the hippest one? I said, man, they're all great, you know. This one would probably be better for this type of playing, this, etc. He said, yeah, but all around, like, what's the best instrument? What do you think is the best instrument? And I said, probably that one. And I said, yeah, play it some more. I want to hear how it sounds, you know, in your hands. You know, this is a big moment for me, man. You playing my guitar. So I'm playing it, and he says, Eric, I'd like you to have it, you know. And I said, whoa, man, wait a minute. And he says, no, really. He says, you know, you've inspired me, and I don't know how to thank you except to do that, so please. And he was so sincere. I said, thanks, man. And I graciously just, I hope, accepted this wonderful instrument. So it's a J45, a Gibson from about 1962. It's been refinished, so it really looks pristine. But it's got a good voice, really good voice.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. What are you going to play for us?
Well, on that note, see, I like expensive guitars and I like cheap guitars too. And it's usually that, really expensive or really cheap, you know. So here's a tune that talks about my expensive taste, and it's called Champagne Habits.
Son, you got champagne habits on a beer salary. Mama keeps telling me, judging from the gifts you buy your wife, you must have been assaulted in your last life. Boy, you worry me with your champagne habits on that beer salary. Better get your head out the clouds, find out what $1's worth down on earth. Taken from Peter to pay off Paul, oh son, you're headed for a fall. You worry me with your champagne habits on that beer salary. Mama, now don't be worried, I'll be rolling in dough someday. I always say, when I become a millionaire, I'll buy you a mansion anywhere. So don't worry about me with my champagne habits on that beer salary. I say, mama, don't worry about me, I was born lucky as a man can be. Friends call me dapper,
'cause I do love my spats and my fancy hats. Now, I don't mind a ride to bus, but I must say a limo's much less fuss. Talking about champagne habits on a beer salary. Son, you got champagne habits on a beer salary. Mama keeps telling me, spending cash wherever you please. You act like money grows on trees. With your champagne habits on that beer salary. But I say, Mama, don't worry about me. I was born lucky as a man can be. With my champagne habits on that beer salary.
Hey, how about that, people? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, come on. Hey, Eric Bibb here in the studio playing for us. Wow, what a special performance for our House of Blues Radio Hour audience. You got to agree. Champagne Habits, the name of the song. Eric, man, we're behind you big time. What a great record. Thank you so much for doing what you do and for joining me this week on the House of Blues Radio Hour.
Thank you, Elwood. Thank you. It's a pleasure to just come and pick and talk, you know.
Hey, you are welcome anytime. And folks, if you've not seen this young man live, get out and support him. His new CD is called Natural Light. His name is Eric Bibb. It's on the Earthbeat label. It's got the Elwood Blues House of Blues yellow must-buy sticker, which you will see in your own imagination when you go looking for the record. And I want you to pick it off the shelf and take it home. I urge you to add it to your collection at your earliest convenience. Now, when we come back, inspired by his work on Martin Scorsese's public television documentary, Corey Harris goes back to Africa to find the African roots of the blues. Beautiful. His new CD is called Mississippi to Mali, a sample when the House of Blues Radio Hour returns. Ooh, I'm excited about this. I'm Elwood.
The House of Blues Radio Hour is brought to us in part by Century 21. Visit century21.com. Real estate for your world.
On its 30th anniversary, the Doobie Brothers invite you in the studio with the Captain and me.
I didn't know about a place. There is a place called China Grove, and it is in Texas, and oddly enough, it's not too far from where I wrote about. But I didn't know that till later on. The cab driver told me that in Houston a couple of years later, and it flabbergasted me. I said, "You got to be kidding, there really is a China Grove?" And he says, "Yeah."
Hi, this is Mike Hossack of the Doobie Brothers.
I'm Tom Johnson of the Doobie Brothers, in the studio for the Captain and me.
Okay, we're on the House of Blues Radio Hour. Corey Harris, musician and scholar, provided the eyes and ears for us in Martin Scorsese's documentary on public television, The Blues. Inspired by that experience, he returned to Africa to make music and share with us the African roots of that American music called the blues. Now, his new and very exciting CD is called Mississippi to Mali. It features both American and African musicians with homegrown instruments from both Mississippi and Mali. Here now, Corey Harris is joined by Bobby Rush on harmonica, Sam Carr on drums for the cut Big Road Blues.
Well, I ain't going down the big road by myself. Why don't you hear me going down the big road by myself? Well, I don't care where you gonna carry somebody else. Well, baby, what make you do me like you do? I don't you hear me talking pretty, mama? What make you do me like you do? Well, you ain't gonna do me like you don't know. Shit, baby. hear me? Who's that running down the road? Well, it looked like my brown skin, does she walk too slow?
Corey Harris and Big Road Blues from his new one, Mississippi Tamale, from Rounder Records. And that was your Blues Breaker. Well, the Big Road is beckoning us, but first I gotta remind you, Ben Manila Productions presents the House of Blues Radio Hour in association with House of Blues Productions, copyright 2004. You do not have to travel the blues road alone. Go to worldwideweb.hob.com for concert information, reviews, and streaming audio of live performances that you can put in a little corner of your PC when you're doing your homework or your accounts. Or go to a real-world House of Blues, people. If you've not been to Anaheim, California, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Hollywood on the Sunset Strip at Olive, Chicago at Marina City, New Orleans, Louisiana on Decatur Street, Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay Resort, Hotel and Casino, and Orlando, Florida at Disney West, nobody has a bad time at a House of Blues. I can tell you, I've been going there for 10 years. Take my advice. We welcome people who love good music. And of course, this program does not go down the big road by itself. It is carried by my staff, Andy Denmark, Matt Bauer, Alex Martinez, Monica Blakely, and Peter Crimmins. Big road, small road. You do not want to go there without a pair of good writers, and we got them. Jim Swenson and Merle Kessler, blues archivists, knowledgeable men they are. The House of Blues radio transmitter is broadcast as part of the United Stations radio networks. My name is Elwood Blues, and I ain't going down that big road by myself. If I cannot carry you, well, I will carry somebody else. Hey, there's more good news for the blues coming out of North Mississippi. Jimbo Mathis was one of the founders of Squirrel Nut Zippers. Since leaving that fold, he's plugged in big time.
I just wanted to get some people together and play some old blues and country, and, you know, Knockdown Society for me was like a release valve.
The James Mathis Knockdown Society, very large blues from northern Mississippi, next time on your House of Blues Radio Hour.